Today we are going to be ranking all of the ACC starting quarterbacks for the 2024 season. Now this is a conference known for having top tier quarterback talent. This year, they have some clear-cut talent at the top, but there's a lot of unknowns, a lot more you need to see from certain guys. So we're going to put all of them into different tiers and still rank them from 16 to 1. At the end of the video, be sure to comment how you think I did, where you think I made some mistakes, and please like and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Let's get right into the ranking. So the first bucket that we're going to have these guys in is a tier simply for the unknowns. So 16 through 14 are going to be guys that we just don't know enough about at this point to put them accurately into one of the other buckets. So that's going to include three guys: Eli Holstein from Pitt. It's going to include Elijah Brown from Stanford, and it's going to include Max Johnson from UNC. Now, I know that there is some tape out there on Max Johnson. He's he has done some stuff on film, but there's just so much we don't know about him. I didn't feel comfortable including him in any higher tiers. Now, Elijah Brown and Eli Holstein are both just kind of complete wild cards. Who knows what you're going to get from them? But Eli came from Alabama, was a highly rated recruit. He could end up higher on this list. I just think Pitt feels very shaky about their quarterback room in general. Until we get more data, more film on these guys, this is where they're going to have to be. Now, the next group of guys are going to be who I consider we need to see improvement from over the course of the next year. There's tape out on these guys. They've done some, maybe okay things, but there are some glaring things about their game that they just have to improve, or they might end up not being the starter. They could end up getting replaced, or they could end up being really good because they have some positive traits as well. But that's going to be overall, this tier in the rankings is going to be guys who you really need to see improvement from this coming year. The first one on this list is going to be Malik Murphy from Duke. Now, a lot of people would question, why would I put him in this category instead of going and slotting up into the unknowns? And I think that his pedigree, his talent level is a little bit higher. You've seen more from him on the prep side that allows you to go, okay, there's a potential that he could really break out. But there's also some questions as to why he hasn't seen the field. So Malik Murphy's our first one on this list. So then moving on with this, we have Anthony Colandrea, Hank Bachmeier, Tyler Shao, and Cade Klubnik. Now, this group overall, they've had a decent amount of film throughout their college career, and there's areas they got to get better. Now, I think of this group, the biggest surprise potentially to you guys watching this is going to be Cade Klubnik being as low as he is. And if I'm being honest, with a team that has as much talent on it as Clemson has traditionally had, he's underachieved. He hasn't looked great. He hasn't really, sparked an offense that looked super productive throughout the course of an entire season. So, I think he just has to do better before I rank him any higher, before I let his accolades from his prep career and his recruiting ranking sway my vision and where I see him in this overall ranking. I have to keep him right here. Now, the others in this list are largely transfers. The two above him, so Shao and Bachmeier, they both, have had decent seasons in their past, but they've also are coming off some years where they've had some struggles. So that's why they get lumped into this group. I think that when you talk about Colandrea at UVA, he's someone I watched last year a good amount, and I feel like he put a lot of good things on tape. It's just a matter of him being able to kind of shift that perspective and put it all together. Now, this next group are guys that are very solid and have high upside. So they're, I feel like what separates them as their own tier is that they have an established floor that I don't think you're going to go beneath. So this group is going to include guys like Castellanos out of Boston College, Preston Stone out of SMU, Haynes King out of Georgia Tech, and Chandler Rogers out of Cal. Now, all of these guys have skill. They've, like I said, established themselves in their career. They can do a lot. Now, they also have upside. That's not to say that their floor is what they're going to be. They could definitely improve and get better. But I also think that, there's a chance and a reasonable expectation for these guys to kind of be what they were, at the very least. So that's why I'm kind of putting these guys in their own block in the rankings. And I think if they're on your team, you feel very good about where you are at the quarterback position. and you're probably very confident heading into the regular season. All right, now this next group are who I consider to be potentially elite guys. Like, who are the players who could come in and really do way more than you anticipated them doing, or even, what they've done in the past, given the situations that they are currently in. And those three guys are Kyron Drones out of Virginia Tech, it is Grayson McCall at NC State, and DJU from Florida State. Now, DJ might be a bit higher than I would have thought he would have been going in, but I really like what he did at Oregon State last year. He's walking into a room with a ton of talent. So I feel very confident that he's going to have a really good season. The other two, so Kyron Drones out of Virginia Tech and Grayson McCall, they're both established guys, and McCall even more so. So with McCall, there's probably not a better quarterback resume in the country right now than Grayson McCall over the course of a college career. 4-time conference player of the year. He is coming off of a kind of injury-plagued season, the only one he's had. Just oozes leadership, is walking into a new offense at NC State where he's going to have a ton of weapons at his disposal, real high-end talents that are going to be better than what he's used to playing with. So I think look out for Grayson McCall. He could have a monster year given the talent that they have surrounding him. And now when you talk about Kyron Drones, he is just somebody who oozes talent and potential. Like, last year he was very, very good, a very, an incredible dual threat at the quarterback position. He could take a huge step this year. I think, when you talk about growth into a quarterback's, full second year as a starter, so much growth is on the table for him, and it could be just simply an amazing year. This last guy is just one tier, and it's simply because I feel like he is in a tier of his own. He is the clear-cut, in my opinion, number one quarterback, in the ACC, and that's Cam Ward out of Miami. What he's done at Washington State is electric. His numbers back it up. I think everything you would draw up in a quarterback you want in a college offense, Cam Ward embodies that. He's going to have talent around him. I think it's reasonable to expect him to improve on the numbers that he already had, which were very good by themselves. So there is a lot of potential for Cam Ward to take that next step on an already amazing statistical career. So Cam Ward, number one tier by himself. That's how I'm going to end up on these rankings. So that's it, 16 through 1. Put in the comments what you think. Where did I miss? I'm sure Clemson fans might come at me for the Cade Klubnik ranking, but to me, that's where things stand. Looking forward to seeing how this ACC season shakes out. Appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more of my videos come to you automatically. But again, appreciate all your time. I'll see you on the next one.